the great Andre. Just hearing his name conjures up ideas of greatness, authority, and mythology. Was the story we were led to believe incomplete, though? Robin Christensen Roussimoff, his daughter, lived in the shadow of her father's imposing legacy for a long time without speaking publicly about him. However, she has now spoken up and disclosed something shocking, which has caused quite a commotion. Who knows what she might say? Just why is this the right time? Come with us as we discover the shocking truth about Andre the Giant, the man whose legacy will be forever altered by this groundbreaking discovery. Andre the Giant existed long before Robin's disclosure regarding her father caused a stir. As a towering presence in professional wrestling, he was more than that. He surpassed the confines of the squared circle with his mystique, spectacle, and legendary status. Andre René Roussimoff was born on May 19, 1946, in Colombières, France. He weighed over 500 pounds and stood at an incredible 7 feet tall. It wasn't simply in wrestling that Andre's stature was an advantage. That was the one thing that defined him. Acromegaly, an extremely rare hormonal disease characterized by an overabundance of growth hormones, started manifesting in Andre's abnormally rapid development in infancy. He towered above his classmates at 12 years old, standing at 6 feet tall. He was born into a large family and spent his childhood working as a farmhand before destiny brought him to the world of professional wrestling. His meteoric rise to fame in the sports entertainment industry began when a local wrestling promoter saw his talent and sent him on a journey that would span continents. Andre had already made a name for himself in Japan, Canada, and Europe before he ever set foot in America in 1971. His overwhelming charisma and seeming invincibility made him the showstopper. His size wasn't the only thing that drew spectators to the 8-year wonder of the world. His nimbleness and charisma were equally impressive. Andre was unrivaled in the wrestling world in the 70s and 80s. Among the most valuable assets to professional wrestling promoters was his talent for drawing enormous audiences and selling out arenas. His amazing power was on display for the fans to marvel at, as he single-handedly dismantled many opponents and effortlessly lifted opponents over 300 pounds. At a time when wrestling was still making waves around the world, he was a sight to behold and a genuine sensation. The 1987 WrestleMania III match between Andre and Hulk Hogan in front of more than 93,000 spectators at the Pontiac Silverdome was a watershed point in Andre's career. Witnessed by people all around the globe, Hogan's incredible body smash on Andre quickly rose to the status of one of the most legendary moments in sports entertainment. Andre won a symbolic handover victory against Hogan, despite his worsening condition. But behind the scenes, Andre was a guy who suffered from chronic emotional and physical suffering. The very gigantism that brought him recognition also caused him excruciating pain. The enormous weight he carried put a tremendous burden on his spine and joints, resulting in a chronic pain condition that he hardly spoke about. Robin would subsequently discover the tragic truth about her father, despite his cheerful public image, that even his closest associates realized the weight he bore. A coping method that Andre developed was alcohol. He had a reputation for drinking to excess. He reportedly has the capacity to consume more than 100 beers in a single sitting. In addition to becoming ingrained in the legends around him, such actions betrayed his inner turmoil. He drank to numb the anguish of his condition, which put him in continual misery. Andre had a difficult family life to add to his physical anguish. Because he was on the road for more than 300 days a year due to his demanding wrestling schedule, he was unable to establish intimate ties, especially with his family and Robin. Andre made an indelible impression on popular culture despite his personal struggles. The Princess Bride, in which he played the part of Fezzik, brought him more fame. He was well liked by his co-stars due to his generous nature on set. Actors like Kerry Elwes and director Rob Reiner later discussed André's amiable character, highlighting how, despite his intimidating look, he had a compassionate heart. In a hotel room in Paris, André succumbed to congestive heart failure on January 27, 1993. A 46-year-old man he was. The wrestling community was devastated by his demise, denoting the conclusion of a period. Even though it has been a long time since her father's death, André the Giant's daughter has spoken out about him, and the news has made headlines. Do you know who Robin Christensen-Roussimoff is? André the Giant doesn't sit well with Robin Christensen-Roussimoff, the only daughter of the famed actor and professional wrestler. Despite their brief time together, Robin's father had a profound impact on her life, from the moment she was born in France in 1979. Her mother, Jean Christensen, was a former wrestling promoter, and she brought her up in relative obscurity in the US despite her father's worldwide fame. Robin wanted nothing to do with the limelight, in contrast to André, whose career was characterized by appearances in Hollywood films and professional wrestling. Robin, André the Giant's only child, and their relationship were fraught with complexity. They didn't see each other very often because of his hectic travel schedule and the exhaustion from wrestling. Robin claims that she only had a few encounters with her father throughout her childhood, which makes their relationship remote but definitely important. She was burdened by his legacy, however she mostly refrained from speaking about her experiences for a long time. Robin didn't start talking openly about her father until the 2018 publication of the highly praised HBO documentary André the Giant. She shed light on the mythical man and his amiable character through her project, Acromegaly, and how his absence affected her life. She gave an intimate account of one of the most legendary individuals in wrestling history through her involvement in the documentary, which was an unusual opportunity for her to step into the spotlight. Robin came to accept her bond with her renowned father, despite the difficulties of growing up with him. Since then, she has represented her father's estate and legacy by making a few appearances at wrestling events and conventions. As the only heir to André's estate, she will see to it that his legacy in wrestling and show business are never forgotten. Fans have gained a better understanding of André the Giant through Robin Christensen-Roussimoff's infrequent public appearances and contemplations on her father. This has allowed fans to see André not only as an unstoppable force in the ring, but also as a multifaceted and profoundly human figure whose impact goes well beyond his wrestling career. The father she had only a tenuous relationship with. When it came to wrestling and her own life narrative, Robin Christensen-Roussimoff's father, André the Giant, cast a long shadow. Still, her recollections of him were few and far between, like stray echoes in the past, despite his legendary position. Physical and emotional separation characterized their relationship. André's globetrotting wrestling schedule kept him on the go. From New York to Tokyo, his towering stature was revered in stadia. Even while everyone else adored him, his own daughter saw only glimmers of the real man in him. There were just 5 brief contacts that Robin remembers having with her father in person. With each one came the quiet knowledge that there would be a considerable gap before the next. Rare encounters between André and her mother John Christensen were already fraught due to their fragile relationship. Continually, he was traveling. And when he wasn't, he was an introvert who struggled to find his voice. Even though they didn't spend much time together, Robin never harbored any animosity against him. She never held him responsible for the years apart or the opportunities they had to spend together. According to what she claimed in an interview earlier, he was really the gentle giant. There was never a moment when I was afraid of him. Plus, he was genuinely an upbeat individual. Whenever we were able to visit him, it was wonderful. The time she spent with him was brief but meaningful in her memory. All the way from the surprised tenderness with which he engaged with his loved ones to the warmth of his booming laughter and the way his gigantic hands overshadowed even the largest of items. Despite his imposing stature, Robin could sense a subtle melancholy and loneliness within him. However, as she matured, those beloved moments were replaced by inquiries that had lingered unresolved. Did he ever have any desire to become a father? She started to wonder. Was his absence something he regretted? Even if he was famous and wealthy, why had they met so rarely? For years, these questions remained unanswered, like a jigsaw puzzle in her brain. Then, when Robin was an adult, she learned something new about André. A new understanding of her father, whom she had only a passing acquaintance with, would emerge from this discovery. Carrying on his work. In 1993, at the age of 46, André the Giant passed away. Robin was 14 years old at the time. His will identified her as the only beneficiary, even though they were distantly related. Robin understood its complexity, even though the world perceived it as an enormous bequest. As the daughter of a legendary figure, she was not only entitled to his riches, but also to his fame, his legacy, and the weight of public expectations. As a child, Robin felt her father's tremendous presence everywhere she went. The world saw him as an intimidating wrestler, a member of the cast of The Princess Bride, and an enormous man whose size was incomprehensible. But as a father, she barely knew. He remained an enigmatic figure to Robin.